Hello YouTubers, welcome back to my channel. I've been requested to do some 3D flowers. Well, I kind of think they're more 4D really. But anyway, so let's start with what we've got here. So I've just picked up a few sort of pinky coloured core powders. These are from CJP. So this one is Pink Sorbet. I've got Rose Garden, Cherry Blossom, Lavender Pearl, Magenta and Milky White. I may not use all of these, but I just thought I would have a bit of a range just in case. So I've got my monomer. I've got my CJP 3D Precise brush. This is great for making these little roses and 3D art. So let's start. So what I do first is get my brush ready. I literally take a little blob of acrylic, and this is from backing paper, so you use the shiny side. Can you see that? It's shiny. So I literally just put a little blob of this down. You want this as a something to anchor onto. And then I go in again and take the colour. I'll go with Rose Garden. Let's go with Rose Garden. Let's get that lid off. Why is the lid stuck now? Okay, let's get the lid off. Right, lid's off. Right, so you want to get some of this. And then just plonk it down like that and just let it settle for a bit. While you're doing that, I get another one. Get another one ready too, over here. All right. Then you want to kind of like manipulate it a little bit. So for this one, wait for it to go slightly matte in colour. I hope you can see what I'm doing here with this. Let's get a little bit closer. There you go. Right, let's go in a little bit. All right, so then I literally just keep my brush flat and pull, pull, pull out, tap, tap, tap. You're patting it down like this, just patting it down all the way like that. All right. Doesn't matter if one end is smaller, because for the first one you're going to roll this one. All right, let's do the other one now. This would be a petal. I think the thinner you can get them, the nicer they look. And I probably don't leave it so that they set too hard, because they're then difficult to manipulate into place. So I try and scoop it up and then kind of get it on and then manipulate it after. So with this one, let's have a little, see if it's ready. Yeah, see, like, get a corner. Get your brush under there. You want to flip it over. You want to flip it over and keep rolling. Rolling some more. You want to roll that right up. Try not to let it get stuck to the backing form, like so. So now you should have, there's your center. Right. Now, that's obviously gone hard. So I'm just going to just literally very gently, without squishing it, hold that a second while I get another little blob. Place the blob down. Right, while that is doing its thing, I'm going to leave that there. And I'm going to get this one off before it goes too hard. So you want to kind of just like, once you've got underneath, go back and forwards with your brush to literally take it off like that. And I'm going to start to curve it a little bit. This stuff's so fiddly. So, yeah, that's good. Right, okay, so with this one, this is probably the most hardest bit. But once you've got this on, it gets easier as you go along. So what you want to do is you want to, yes, it will fall over and you will be like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. You want to get it in the middle and then you want to squish everything around the outside and build a small wall around it. And then once it starts to set, it should set in an upright position or thereabouts. As upright as you can get it, right, like that. So with your first petal, you just want to add a little bit. Take your petal. It should still be fairly moldable. And you want to get it on there. And you want to wrap it around. Like so. We need some more to anchor the base in. Go ahead and do that. Fiddly as you like. So now it's stuck to my nail, so I'm just going to tease it off with my brush. There you go. All right. So I'm just going to push this stuff back in there like that. Right. I'm going to zoom in for you a little bit so you can actually see this tiny, tiny, tiny center. Right, so this is the center now of your rose. Yes, it's leaning slightly, but that's okay. Like I said, it's extremely fiddly. So there you go. Just flatten that out. There you go. Now it's standing nicely. Right, once you've got the middle bit, you go on to the next one. And you can take, well, you can either stick with the same colour or you can take a blob of a lighter colour and add just a tiny little bit of the pink there and just literally let it flop down. And do the same. Make a petal with it. Pull it out, pull it out, pull it out. If you want to add a little bit more white, it's fine. Or the lighter colour, that's fine. Okay, can you see there? So then you just get your brush and you pat it out. Pat it out. Pat it out. Sit like that. All right, let's zoom back out a little bit because I'm going out of shot. All right, so you want to distinguish which end is going to be the top of your petal and which end is going to be the bottom. Well, I'm going to use the lighter end as the bottom. So if I start here and I screw it up, it doesn't matter because it's going to go at the bottom of my rose. So I'm just teasing it off here at the moment. All right, so this is really, really kind of pliable right now. So I'm just now going to grab it on here. I'm going to find the join, the other side. and I'm going to work it around this little bit here. And you might want to get a little bit just to stick it in there. So it acts like a bit of glue. Fiddly, fiddly, fiddly. And you want to bring this bit round, keep turning. So you're going to get a little bit in there and you want to push it in. And then you should move on to the next petal. So again, into the light, into the darker colour. You want to roll that off your brush. Just let that sit there. I'm going to do 2. If it's a little bit dry, just tap a little bit of monomer over the top of it. There you go. And you just literally flatten to the side, to the middle, back to the side again. You want to try and get it thin as possible so it's not too fat on the edges. Again with this one. Love how the colours, it gives a nice edge. Doesn't matter if the edges are slightly wibbly, because if you look at a petal, none of them are perfectly round. So again, you want to get a little touch of the pale colour or pink, whatever you prefer, and act as a little bit of glue around the flower, ready for your next petal to go on. I think I'm going to go with this one here. And I'm just going to slide my brush underneath, back and forth. And I want to try and get it in place. Just going to use my finger to curve it round there. And bring it round with my other nail. And what I want to do then, I'm going to try and fold the top back. Like that. To open up the rose. Now hopefully that's grabbed hold of it there. This side could do with being pushed in a little bit more. Need to add a little bit more in there just to cement it all together. I hope this is making sense, and I hope you can see what it is that I'm doing here. You want to just give it a few seconds just to hold it together a bit. Alright, so you can now start to see that it's forming a shape of a rose. So just keep going with your colours. By the way, if you leave your petals for too long, they're going to be far too hard to manipulate. I have a feeling this one is now too hard. No, it's not. Because it was thin, it's still fairly bendy, so that's quite cool. I'm just going to flatten this out a little bit. Alright. I'm just going to let that one sit there for a bit. Alright, let's get this one on as it's ready. So So I'm just going to get myself another little bit of the light colour and act like a glue. Excuse me. We've all had these viruses at the moment. There's so much going around. Right, so let's get that one in there. What you do is you want to just keep going around and joining up the areas that have a gap. So it's all very fiddly stuff. Once you've got that pushed in place, and you can roll back the top. Be careful though, they can snap and split. You want to do this really lightly, rolling back the top of the petal while holding the rest in place. Right, that side is on. I need to unhook my nail this side. Okay. I need to get a little bit more in there. If you can see, it's come undone, not enough. There you go. And now the top is hard, I can stick my finger in the middle and it acts as a, like I can hold it in place while I push the sides. Okay. Right, that's fine now. Alright. So a little bit more of the lighter colour. Find the gap. When I say the gap, I'm talking about the petal is curving around this petal. This petal is curving around this petal, and that one, that one. So you want to look for, there's one there, so you want to put one that way, one the other way, one around the gap. So the next gap would be here. There is nothing here. You've got one wrapping around that one coming around here, nothing coming around here. So ideally, if I can get this one off, hopefully it's not set too hard. You're going to get underneath. You want to get into that space there, and you want to tease it across. Don't worry if it goes up. All you want to do is you want to get those sides on first, and then you can pull the petal back, curl it over. If you look at a real rose, their petals curl over. There you go. So I'm just going to unstick myself here and here. Hope that that is held. There you go. And look at that. You could keep going round and round and round until you've got a giant one. I mean a big one. Like I made one this sort of size. I know, can't really get it in the screen. It was the size of my hand. I don't actually know what I've done with it now, but I think it's on one of my Instagram pictures. And that took me, I don't know, about half an hour to make. Once you get the petals down, so let me show you with the powder what I'm doing here so that you've got a bit more of an idea. I'm going to zoom back out now so that you can see. So, light colour, dip in to the darker colour, and you want to just literally roll it onto the backing paper. Let it just sit there. Looks so tiny, doesn't it? All by itself. Right. Wait for that to go a slightly matte in colour. And then you want to so as we're going with the pink on the outside, I need to turn it around because I need to get my brush. My brush needs to start here. And it needs to start at a slight angle, and then it needs to be push out to one side, push in the middle, push out to one side. Keep doing that until that petal is nice and flat. no bumps. See a lot of roses and they're beautiful. I just find that the petals are really bumpy, quite thick, chunky, yeah, chunky. I like mine thinner. And I like to try and get a peak in the middle there. Alright. So that's how I do my petals. Okay, so let's go in with the very last petal. So I'm getting myself a little blob just to stick around. Use it as a bit of cement. I'm going to get my petal I've just made. I'm going to start with the lighter side because if I screw it up, if I dig into it or do something wrong, it's going to be at the bottom of the flower and not at the top. Once I've got underneath, I push the brush back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until it's lifted. I generally stick it on my finger. Everybody does this differently, so this is just my take on how I make these. I then pick it up on my brush. I turn to where I want it to go. I've now got my acrylic already on there and it's probably starting to set, which is good. And I'm going to add my last petal to the flower. Okay, has that held? Yeah, and then what I would do then is I'd just take a couple of small beads just to go around and just literally tidy up. Make sure that that petal holds on there without unraveling itself. Oops, I dropped it. Okay, there you go. Like I said, you can go bigger with these if you want to. Just follow the same pattern all the way around. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you can have one that is literally the size of your hand, like I said. So there we are. There's my little rose, my little 4D rose. You can make them in all different colours. There's a slightly bigger one I did yesterday. This is actually using the Apple Shine and Lavender Pearl from CJP. Kind of looks like a cabbage rose. But you know, when you've got a group of them, how beautiful would that look with a group of them on a nail? So I'm just going to show you now. I would then get some clear acrylic. I would take a blob, clear acrylic. I would take a nail already prepped and I would figure out where I would like to put this rose. So I'd like to put it here. So I'd stick a nice blob of clear acrylic there. And then I would pick my rose up carefully, hoping that it is dry. Because it is stuck to the paper, you just twist it off the backing paper. And I would push it down into place. Let's zoom out again, I'm way too close. So I would push it down into place and just neaten up around the edges. Now, what you can do is you can make leaves. You can put crystals around. Crystals look lovely. Some of the pointy backs look amazing because obviously this is 4D, so it will stick off the nail, like stick up. So by itself, it's going to sort of stand out like a sore thumb. But if you were to add some lovely pointy back crystals, it would look lovely, really pretty. Or like I said, you could make some beautiful leaves. So once I'm happy with that, there you go. So there we have it. A 4D rose on an L. So I hope that helped you guys. I could sit here all night making these, but I've got to go to bed. Anyway, oh, hold up a sec. Something's... What's this I see? Could this be a clue? Or is it? Don't know. You have to keep watching more videos to see if you can see any more clues for the giveaway for the 200th subscriber. So keep an eye out for my next videos, because each one will have a little clue in it. I hope this helped you. Please hit the like and please subscribe and hit the little bell icon, and that will tell you when the next new video is. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care, everyone. Bye.